right, let's get us live on the book. Dun, dun, dun. Booyah. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. Today, we're talking about if we had 30 days to make $10,000 in a brand new cash physical therapy practice, whether you're all in or a side hustle. This is exactly how Ben and I would go about doing it. So today on the podcast, we're going to cover four things. Number one is how to launch a profitable cash-based physical therapy practice fast without having to quit your job. Number two is the best side hustle strategies for physical therapists to earn more while working less. Number three is the number one mistake that keeps therapists stuck in low paying jobs. And lastly, proven ways to attract high paying private patients without losing your shirt. So let's dive into it. To Ben, how are you feeling today, man?
Doing good. How yourself?
Good, dude. We're obviously working on a bunch of cool stuff over here at Clinical Marketer and cashphysicaltherapy.com, which is really, really exciting. But more importantly, I mean, these questions we've been getting hammered with by physical therapists who feel burnt out. And I'm excited to kind of uncover and demystify the simplicity of actually getting to $10,000 a month. And it doesn't have to take 12 months or 2 years like some people think. It's actually extremely simple. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's a simple numbers. You just need five patients. You charge $200 per session. You get five people invest in packages. You're at 10K. Do you think you can find five people in 30 days? So
Right. The thing is, it's like most people don't even even like do the math on that, which is the crazy part. So I think that's the best place to kind of start is if you want to hit $10,000, like just reverse engineer that. Like how many people do you think will convert from your evals into your cash packages? Well, first of all, if you're doing, want to do 10,000, if you're charging $2,000, well, then you need five people. If you're charging $1,500 on the lower end, well, you just need seven people. From there, you just got to ask yourself, how many evals do you think you need to sell one package? If you're just starting out, typically your conversion rate is going to be about 50%. So that means that each and every month to hit 10,000, we really just need 10 to 15 evals a month to absolutely smash it. So the question is, to get to 10,000, what is the fastest path with the least resistance to make hitting $10,000 an absolute inevitability? So let's go into number one, how to launch a profitable cash-based physical therapy business the fast way. Ben, you want to take the things that we need to have in place before we can even start seeing patients? That's step one.
yeah, it comes down to risk tolerance. Honestly, if you're a little bit more risk tolerant, you don't need necessarily an LLC or an S corp. You can just be a sole proprietor. There's less protection there. But I would encourage you, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so take it with a grain of salt, do your due diligence. But if I was to do it all over again, all I need is a space to treat out of. Just find a gym and a treatment table. That's all you need. Gym has all the equipment. For me personally, gym has all the equipment that I would need. And then I've got my hands, manual therapy. That's all I need. I don't need anything else but really a treatment table.
Yeah.
Also, I don't even know if I'd have an LLC or an S corp right out the gate. It doesn't take that long to get. So I would work on that, like have that in process. But you can, in the meantime, while that's finalizing, you can go out and start networking with gyms. Find a place to treat out of. That is, in my opinion, what if I was to do it all over again. That's those two things: treatment table, space. Three things: treatment table, space to treat out of, and then a liability insurance.
Yep.
Is the general and professional liability insurance. Those are the three things that you need, bare minimum, to get started. And I see a lot of people take months where they're like, no, I need to get a website up first. I need to have all these different things, and you don't. And that's what's going to really slow you down. So just hit the ground running. You don't need a whole lot. You literally need nothing to start. You don't even need an LLC. You don't even need liability or health or liability, professional or general liability insurance. You don't even need a treatment table to start networking with gym owners. That's something you can literally do today. You don't need all this stuff put in place just to start that networking process and getting on the community.
Right. Start building anticipation. Instead of a website, start an Instagram page. Okay. More people don't browse websites anymore. They browse Instagram. Start there. Don't waste a bunch of resources building this website that's going to get absolutely zero traffic. So start with Instagram. Your LLC and your liability insurance, I mean, it's so easy. Literally takes 24 to 72 hours. LegalZoom, getting an LLC, it's $100 and then it's done and you're protected. If someone got injured, you're not liable. Your liability insurance, again, takes 24 to 72 hours. That's $50 to $100 a month. Your treatment table, if you get one that's not complete ass, it's $100. So we're talking, to have and all your bases covered, we're talking $300. And getting to the $10,000 mark is really, really simple, especially if you do as Ben said, and you're building anticipation for that launch. What we do is, before the launch of the brand new practice, not only would we go to our current gyms and tell them like how much we love their community, love what they built, and talk to them about like, what are some things that I could do to potentially help support you and your mission? Are there any injuries or things that you see going on with either your trainers or your clients or your personal training clients that I could potentially do like a tune-up table to help keep people healthy and keep people coming back? Start having those conversations so that when you do open, you already have built a starving crowd of people who are willing to not only support you, but also potential patients on the board right from the get-go. As well as we've had people post in their local community Facebook groups saying that, hey, I've noticed this huge gap in the marketplace where people aren't getting seen as quickly as they want, or unable to work with providers that focus on their specific sport, like running or new moms, for example. And one of our clients, she posted that across the local Facebook groups for her community, and that post was shared more than 40 times. And so before she even opened her practice, she had a massive wait list. And so do the due diligence right away, get the LLC, don't worry about the name, get the liability insurance. But as Ben said, you really, with your risk tolerance, you don't even actually need those things. So don't go buy a bunch of dry needling stuff. Don't go buy cupping equipment or compression boots. You don't need those things to get started. And a lot of people think like, oh, if I don't have fancy equipment, people aren't going to pay premium rates. That is BS. That is absolute BS. Okay. If you're great at what you do and you're good at explaining the problems that you help people with, you can absolutely sell. We've had people blow up their practices and they're operating out of their garage with some basic equipment. You don't need any of that stuff.
100%.
Anything that?
No, you just don't. It's one of the biggest mistakes that slows people down.
Right.
People don't buy it. People don't work with you because of equipment, because of your credentials, nothing like that. You don't need your CSCS. You don't need your OCS. You don't need years of experience to do this. Started as a new grad. And we had, by the end of the first year, at over 50 plus Google reviews, and most of them were from patients I'd seen, senior physical therapists at other models, and didn't get results, but they got results with me. It's not because I'm a great PT. I learned to really listen, connect with people, and solve the problems. And that's all it is.
100%. So if you're listening to this right now, whether you're catching us live or you're watching the replay or listening to it on your podcast on your way to work, drop what's your biggest challenge with starting your cash practice side hustle in the comments. We'd be happy to circle back and help point you in the right direction, whether it's an equipment thing, a treatment space thing, or a pricing thing, whatever it is, we can get you started. So now that number 2 is the best side hustle strategies for PTs who want to earn more while working less. How do we actually balance our time efficiently so that we can actually do both? Ben, you want to take that one? How would you approach this? You're still working your job. You're trying to get the side hustle off the ground. How are you managing your time?
Yeah, so this is what I did. Is I advocated to work for do 410s. So I had Mondays off. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I was working. I was doing workshops. I was seeing patients on Monday, and then as my caseload grew on Mondays and on the weekends, then I would decrease my hours where I was currently working. So I'd go from like 40 hours down to 30. Yep. And then once, now I have Tuesdays off. Now I can treat patients 4 days per week. And that's the thing too, is like, well, people are like, oh, I want my weekends. You gotta buck up a little bit at the beginning.
Right. Choose your hard.
Yeah. Choose your hard. If you want every time that you choose that you want a weekend, that's probably another 1 or 2, 3, 4 weeks that you have to work in your shitty insurance based job, right? So what do you want, right? So that's the thing. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was a grind, working every single weekend, literally for seeing patients on the weekend, every single weekend for the first year and a half. Is that required? No. But that's why I grew so quickly, is because I was okay with that, right?
Right.
Not okay with that. That's not fine for everybody, and that's okay. But just letting you know, if you really want to, like this podcast episode is how to do 10K the fastest, I'm giving that route. So just decreasing your hours at your current position as you scale up your hours on the side. But really advocating for the 410s is huge, because you have a full day versus if you're doing like 5/8, it's just, you're having to switch between two different worlds and two different major tasks, right? And so it's just harder to make that transition versus if I had 3 days straight of just being able to focus on my business, and then 4 days where I was working somewhere else, and then yes, I was doing phone calls on my lunch break to get new patients, right? And talking to patients before and after work. So that's how I went about it.
Right. And is going back into it, like your life has to get harder before it can get easier. You can either stay exactly where you are and not advance and just do the same thing for the next 10, 20, 30 years, or you can sacrifice 1 year so that the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years can be substantially easier. And so at first things have to get harder. And so, yeah, a lot of people starting out, they switch over to like a PRN job where they have full control over their hours so that they can focus on their business and slowly cut back their time as they're getting started. The other piece is not leaving it up to chance. Okay. If you need to get to $10,000 in a single month, start with the relationships you already have with your local communities, whether it's gyms, whether it's mom groups, whether it's running groups. Start attending all of these things and start figuring out how you can provide value to those groups. You're not going and asking for referrals. You're not asking for tune-up tables. You're not asking for workshops. You are supporting their business, and however they tell you they could use some support, and let them tell you exactly what it is you can do. One advantage you have when you're just starting out is you're a noob. You have no idea exactly what you're doing, which puts you in the position to ask for advice rather than referrals. Okay. Every person that's a potential referral source for a physical therapist is getting pounded every day with people asking for referrals and workshops. What nobody is doing is going to those owners as successful entrepreneurs and asking them for advice on, hey, I know everyone's trying to work with you, but as like a new business owner, I'm just curious, like, what's the right way to approach relationships with a business like yours where you would actually want to partner with somebody like me? And then they're going to break down what they wish people would do. And then if you just do that thing, they're going to feel compelled to actually want to work with you because they told you how to do it and you actually did it. And one kind of trick is, once someone is advising someone, not only does every entrepreneur want to be asked questions like that, because we never get to kind of like demonstrate our expertise to realize how far we've come, but once they give you advice on how to be successful, everyone wants the person that they've mentored or given advice to be successful. No one wants to give advice to someone who fails. And so if you follow their advice, they are going to be inclined to want to continue to support you and help you, because of the psychological impact of like, hey, I gave you advice, you followed it, I want to help support, make sure that that's a win. So go and ask for advice. One of the best advices that I ever got was, if you ask for money or referrals, you get advice, but if you ask for advice, you get paid twice. So leverage that as you're a new practice owner. Go and ask for mentorship and advice from successful people who could be potential referral sources. Yep. So that's number 2. The best side hustle strategies for PTs. Work out of the place that already has a starving crowd of your dream clients, that already has the equipment that you need. Focus on the relationships you already have with potential referral sources. And then number 3 is the number one mistake that keeps therapists stuck in low-paying jobs. Now I'm gonna start this one off. It's not developing the skills that business owners really, really need, especially in the cash physical therapy world. Great clinicians are a dime a dozen. Okay. A lot of people, they can mentor that and teach that. What's really, really challenging is really helping people master sales and master marketing. And if you would just get good at those two things, not only does your demand for your skill set go through the roof and create a massive differentiator between you and anyone else, whether you're starting a cash practice or looking for a cash physical therapy job that pays well. It's mastering those skills. And by not having those, your leverage and your ability to stand out across all the other people that are out there, it's not very high. So first thing you got to do is, if you're trying to make $10,000 in a single month, I would put all that effort into networking with relationships you already have in town, asking for advice, how you can support them. But then during your off times, every time you're driving, every time you're working out at the gym, you need to be going through sales training, how to communicate your value with confidence and conviction to get people to be open to buying your premium cash packages. Because if you start out and you're only selling $100, $150 per visit, getting to $10,000 is going to be really hard. You need to be charging that upper percentile, which means we need to be able to communicate. We need to understand buyer psychology. And with so many resources that are out there today, I mean, Ben, you and I have released dozens of sales trainings. You can get the foundational strategies that you need to be able to convert at least at 50% into your premium packages. And so that's month one, starting over, don't know anything. That is the next step. Binge sales training. Ben, I know you did that while you were in school. You want to talk about that for a sec?
Yeah. I mean, we've released so much content. Like you guys have, there's so much content out there, not just from us, just everywhere on sales. That's something that you should be doing, like commuting to your work or commuting to your clinicals. Like you're in PT school, commuting to school, to your clinicals, work, whatever. Like whenever you're driving, that's what I did. Is I threw podcasts in, and a lot of it was around sales. If you can double your conversion rate, you need half the amount of new patients, right? And so that's something I would highly encourage you guys to do, is binge as much sales. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest bottleneck, and easily lowest hanging fruit for everybody just starting out.
Right. Anyone that gets a few reps with this, they're closing evals into packages at like 60, 70, 80% when they're just starting out. It's really easy to get to 50% if you just have the knowledge and you practice it just a little bit. And so to get to $10,000 your first month, go watch that training, practice with yourself. And as we said, to get to $10,000 a month, you just need 5 to 7 evals, or 5 to 7 package sales. And if starting out a 50% conversion, you just need 14, 15 evals, which you can easily get from the communities that you're already a part of in your town. And by making Facebook posts in those communities, the thing that's going to hold you back is not practicing the sales. But if you do that right away, every time you're in the car, every time you're working out, you're going through and listening to sales training and practicing, you're going to be way ahead of what most people do. Because the reason most people struggle to hit 10,000 is because they never work on the sales. And if you commit from the get-go to doing that, you can hit it right out of the park first try.
Yeah, sure. One thing that I do want to highlight of like what not to do, it's gonna be tempting. Especially if you're working a current position where you are seeing patients, it may be tempting, like when you're really hurting for patients, to like try and poach patients. Don't be a piece of shit. Do not flat out, don't be a piece of shit. It's I see it too often, that no matter how much you despise like your clinic on like the high volume, whatnot, at the end of the day, that patient's in your world because of the marketing and the work that clinic put into it. Yeah. Don't poach current patients. If they ask where you're going, don't even tell them. I would not tell them. They can, if they really want to work with you, they can search for your name. Mm-hmm. But I worked in an insurance-based clinic. I was also working for a cash-based practice on the side when I was growing my practice, and she, the owner, knew that, and we were far enough away that she was fine with it. But I had multiple patients ask me where I was going. I said, hey, not quite sure. Because at the end of the day, you need to have a backbone. You need to have ethics. You don't poach patients from your current employer, whether it's a cash-based practice, whether it's a insurance-based clinic. Don't do it. Don't go about it that way. And I think it's how you start your practice from an ethical standpoint is how it's going to continue to carry on for the rest of your practice. So you start off on doing unethical shit, that's going to carry on. It's not going to stop there, and you're going to get into deep shit. So that's the only thing I want to say of what not to do. And I've seen a lot of people do that. And it's just not good. So
right. It's not the right kind of energy you want to start off the venture that's going to create the life you want to have. You can't start off with bad karma going into business. That's just going about it the wrong way for sure. Sage advice. Sage advice. So that's that was number 3. The number one mistake that keeps therapists stuck in their low paying jobs, it's not focusing on developing the skills that will give them the leverage to either start their own thing or find better opportunities out there in the job market. So start focusing on learning, sales, and marketing. Because if you have those things, you can take care of yourself no matter what happens in your life. Those are the 2 most valuable skills any human being can have, because no matter what you find yourself in, if you know how to market, aka find a starving crowd of people that have a problem you can solve, and then B, know how to convey your value to someone to get them to want to give you money, you can get yourself out of basically any situation, anytime, if you develop those skills. So like we said, going to the gym, when you're in your downtime, when you're on lunch, be consuming sales content. You can go to Cash Physical Therapy School on YouTube. We have dozens of trainings on sales, objection handling, how to be confident, how to set your rates, all of that stuff. So start consuming that information now, so that when you do start your cash practice, if you want to hit 10K the first month, that is going to be the number one determining factor of if you are able to do it, if you can turn that attention into dollars.
100%.
Going into number 4, proven ways to attract high-paying private patients who are willing to pay $2,000 for your treatment packages without losing your shirt. Ben, you already kind of touched on this, but can you go a little bit deeper on like how did you get those initial relationships with referral partners to do workshops? And we'll dive into workshops a little bit.
I really did trial by fire. I wasn't perfect at all. Like there wasn't a whole lot of training around how to do it. So it was just me, Rich, going in and be like, hey, I'm a physical therapist. How can I help? Can I treat out of here? Can I do a workshop? Don't go about it. But the thing is, I still had success with it because it was a numbers game. Yep. Was my conversion rate high? No, but it was just a numbers game. I was willing to just get punch in the face, no rejection. And so you can do it at a much more higher successful clip than what I did. But at the end of the day, speed wins, numbers win. Like the more that you can just get in front of people. And that's how I got good at it. Right. Because I was doing it so often. Now what we want to do is just, like you said, Jordan, like how can I support? What value can I bring? What struggles are your members having? How can I be that? How can I help you solve a problem that you're having?
Right. And don't just be a door-to-door salesman. Don't just walk into clinics, go up to their admin and start asking them these questions. Their job is to repel people like you. Okay. The number one person that referral partners and other businesses want to help are their customers. Okay. So that's why we start with the communities we're already customers of, because they want to support their customers. And so start out by going to community centers that you're already a member of, put them on a pedestal, how much you love it, how, I started my physical therapy practice and I'd love to start referring people into your business. Can I ask you some more about what it is you're doing, what you have going on, so that I can do that? Learn about their business, because they're going to tell you everything once they know that you're trying to refer people to them. And then ask them, what are like some challenges that you're facing right now? Is there anything that I might be able to help with? So once you tee up like, hey, I want to refer, I'm a paying customer, I want to support this business because I love what you guys have going on. And then you ask like, how can I support you? It completely changes the paradigm of that conversation. And so what I'd recommend doing is whatever gyms or community programs that you're a part of, find the decision makers, figure out when they're going to be leading a class or running the discussion of whatever's going on, and then look at their website, at their schedule, and find a time where they don't have a class immediately afterwards. So you know that you have time to talk to them after that session is over. Attend that class, talk to them afterwards, introduce yourself, tell them how amazing they are and that you love everything that they've built, and then tell them how you want to support them, and then ask how else you can support them. Cold drop-ins with brochures, it's just so, people have been hammering people for like 20 years doing that. Yeah, that's not the way we do it. Now it's about relationships. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah. And if you've been in the community enough and you're active yourself, I guarantee, especially if you've been part of the community, that's the thing is I didn't have this luxury. Well, it was a luxury, but not. I was in Oakland, California. I knew nobody. I'd just moved there 4 weeks ago. And so it was nice in the sense that I didn't really care what people thought, because I don't even know if I'm going to stay here long term. People think I'm a dumbass. It's not a big deal, right? Then like at the same time, I didn't have any warm intros. So if you
Mm.
are well connected in the community, there's people that you know that can help with a warm intro to a gym owner, trainer, yoga instructor, what have you. So the warm intros can be really helpful there too.
100%. So use your network, post in the groups, use the places that you're already a member of, do all of that stuff, and you'll find that it's actually a lot easier to get this built up than you think. Even before you launch the practice, those anticipation posts are extremely powerful when they're inside of a community full of active people that are all a part of there. I would also start on your Instagram, optimize your page for booking patients. Change your name from just your name to John Smith. I help active adults in Waukesha achieve optimal performance and get out of pain through world-class physical therapy treatments. Change it to that, because now your page is optimized for SEO. Add a link for them to be able to book a call with you, and then start posting content that's helping people solve the problems that they have. Okay, if you start doing that organically right now, you're going to find that over time, not only are you getting DMs from people with those problems, but every single person that likes, comments, or shares any content you've created, that is a lead that you follow up with and can turn into a booking. Very cost effective, very simple, and it starts building this defensive moat around your business through your content. Because sure, there might be 10 physical therapists in your town, but there's only one you. So if you start creating content now, that's another really, really easy way to start to build an audience of a starving crowd that wants your services and allows them to get to know you before buying from you, which makes sales easier. So those are the steps to take to be able to start to advertise right in the beginning to hit $10,000 a month very quickly. Notice how we haven't mentioned about anything about ads. Okay, so far to implement this whole strategy and hit your first $10,000 a month, the most you could spend is $300. Everything we just laid out teaches exactly how to do it, which is why we're able to help people hit $10,000 months almost like every single month inside of our programs teaching this. So things we covered: how to launch a profitable cash-based practice very quickly without quitting your job. Number 2 is the best side hustle strategies for PTs to earn more while working less. Number 3 is the number one mistake that keeps therapists stuck in low-paying jobs and what you need to do about it. The number 4 is proven ways to attract high-paying private patients willing to pay $2,000 for treatment without you losing your shirt. Okay, we literally shared the entire strategy. It's extremely simple. There's nothing complex about it. The thing that you got to realize is that doing $10,000 a month, not only is this extremely normal, and we see it happen all the time with people that didn't think that it would ever work for them. They thought that having a successful, profitable cash practice is possible for other people, but never me. I'm just an everyday average individual. Okay, we see those people hitting it all the time. So you have to understand and start to believe that $10,000 a month is not only normal, but it's really, really easy.
Yeah, it's really eye-opening once you just reverse engineer and just break it down.
Right. We're talking 10 to 14 evals with a really bad conversion rate. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you have a decent conversion rate, that means you only really need 7 evals and you're crushing $10,000 months. And now you just got to focus on being consistent with the networking, showing up where your most ideal clients already are, and building relationships by giving value first so that they'll want to refer to you over the other people who are harassing them for referrals and workshops.
Yep.
Easy stuff. Thanks, everybody. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'm curious, what is the biggest challenge preventing you from starting your cash physical therapy side hustle? Drop it in the comments and we'll answer it on the next episode of the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. Inside of the comments, you can see where you can subscribe for weekly trainings on our YouTube. Every week, Ben and I are releasing content on what's working right now to grow and scale cash physical therapy side hustles. Or you can go over to Spotify or iTunes podcast and listen to our weekly podcast episodes where we're breaking down again how to be successful in the game of cash physical therapy, even if you haven't quit your job yet. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys.